Can Gemini actually build us a profitable trading strategy? In this video, we are going to find out. So what I've done is I've tried to create a strategy that could be used across multiple assets. Specified crypto, but also mentioned that something like trading on Spire and QQQ could be useful. And so here is the prompt that I gave Gemini. And what Gemini did is it came back with a Pine Script trading strategy that I'm able to plug inside of TradingView. And so what I want to do now is I want to walk you through how the strategy actually came out, some back and forth, and seeing if we can get it to become profitable. Then we'll look a little bit deeper into the results of the back test to see if there are any red flags. So I've gone ahead and I've actually put the strategy now onto TradingView. And this is the strategy here on Pine Script. We can see it's about 94 lines of code, not super complex, but essentially a volatility adjusted mean reversion strategy. Now, when I get that out of the way, we can see I'm putting it on ETH to start just to get a sense of how it's done. And if we bring this back to 2014, we can see that it's got 32 trades, 40% profitable. It is a profitable strategy by the profit factor being above 1, but it's not really making us much money. And if we were to just buy and hold ETH during this span of time, we would have substantially outperformed the strategy. So you can see that if we scroll down on TradingView to the benchmark comparison, the strategy outperformance, it's negative, meaning if you just bought and held the asset, you would have made a lot more money. Jumping down to a 4-hour time frame, it does worse. And as I bring the time frames down, we do have a profitable strategy on the 2-hour time frame, but the profit factor actually drops off as it's a bit more marginal. It did take a lot more trades, but again, we're only up 18% with a 16% max drawdown. So now we get to that point of we need to start to optimize and adjust the strategy. There's a couple things we can do. The first thing is we can provide feedback to Gemini and give it some more guidance. Now, inside of the strategy, we can go down to the settings and we can actually customize the settings. We have commissions being accounted for. We have essentially a default order size of $10,000 and it's trading on a $100,000 account. But then we can go and change the inputs. That'll change all of this. So I'm going to send a couple screenshots back to Gemini, essentially saying, here's the backtest results. Here are the settings that we have. What do you think I should change to improve the trading strategy? And now we're going to see if it changes the code or recommends a couple of setting swaps that we can make. What you could do is you can go one by one, brute force method by just changing these numbers a little at a time. I do not recommend changing multiple at the same time. I'd recommend changing one at a time and seeing if you can improve the results. So here's what it gave me. It essentially said we got to speed the time filter up. We need to loosen the volatility bounds, make momentum more sensitive, and give the trade more room to breathe. This is optimized for the 1-day time frame. We could go to the 4-hour time frame, but I want to start on the 1 day personally, just because I think we've got a better backtest here. When we jump down to the 4-hour, things were not good at all. So the first recommendation is the macro trend EMA, changing it from 200 down to 50 or 100. Let's go ahead and try that. So it was the first thing I was thinking about. Let's bring it down to 100 and see what this does to the backtest. Made it worse. And then 50 is essentially nothing. So I change it to 150 to start, and we actually got a better backtest, a better profit factor, but we still do not have a lot of trades at all. Next, we want to loosen the volatility bounds. So let's drop this KC multiplier from 2.2 down into the upper ones and see what the response will be. I'll start by dropping it down to 2. Didn't really change much. I've got it to 1.6 and I'm not really noticing much going on here, so we're going to pause there. Next, we'll make the momentum more sensitive. So RSI length, we'll shorten that from 14 to 7 or 10. Let's take a look at how that plays out. And again, as I do this, remember what I'm doing here. Change, see how the results come out. Change it, see how the results come out. I'm not going to change multiple things and then see the results because I don't know what moved the needle. Once I'm comfortable with where we're at on one of them, then I'll start to move to the next ones. Moving the RSI length down to 10. Let's see what we get with that. Okay, we're getting more trades. Is this a great strategy? No, not really, but we're getting better on the trade front. 10 seems to be the sweet spot on the RSI length right there. And then let's give the trade more room to breathe. This is actually quite underrated. People tend to think that just because you now have larger stops means you're going to lose more. Not necessarily. I've seen a lot of strategies where it's kind of the opposite. You would think by increasing my stop loss length or my gap to the stop loss, I'm now going to have a terrible strategy. It's possible you end up getting strategies that can actually withstand some drawdown and then they don't get you stopped out and then they go on to hit your profit target. So let's first hit the stop loss ATR multiplier from 1.5 to 2. Let's try that. That seemed to hurt the strategy there. Bumping it to 2.5 just to see, not really doing much for us. And to be honest, we're getting less and less trades here. So 1.5 is going to be the spot there. Now, I think it wants the risk-reward ratio next. Consider bumping that from 2 to 1.5. This one makes some sense. So if you think about this, the larger the risk-reward ratio, the more we're looking to make on winning trades versus lose on losing trades. And so if you have a very high risk reward ratio, like 2, 3, 4, you're going to usually see the amount of profitable trades take a hit. And so now if we jump down and we bring this down to, let's start with 1.5 just to get a sense for where this might be, we would expect our win rate to improve here. So 41% before, let's see, now goes to 44. Better. But just because it went up does not mean the strategy is better. In this case, the strategy, it's actually probably worse. Drop this down to 1 here, and it hurts us even more. The answer could be, to be honest, this has to go higher. Let's go to 3 and see what happens. And just like that, we've actually improved the strategy dramatically there. Now, is this amazing? No, but it's much better than what we had. Okay, as crazy as it sounds, I've bumped this up to 5. So what we now have is a 5 on the risk-reward ratio. And to be honest, we've got the best results here that we've seen. Now, it did drop the profitable trades, but that's kind of expected because now we're looking for massive winners and small losers. And so you'd expect that we're going to have a diminishing profitable trade number. But a 1.71 profit factor is at least something to work with here. Now, the glaring scenario here is that this essentially made a lot of money in 2016, 2017, and since then, hasn't done much. It's making higher lows and it's near the highs of where it's been, but it hasn't really done too much since hitting this high back here in 2017. It's a long time to go. It's still not that many trades for what? Not much. Okay, I'm going to try the 4-hour time frame. Not liking this that much. Let's try ETH. I'm actually excited to see what ETH looks like. Jumping down to a 4-hour time frame on ETH, we've got a much better strategy. It does have those periods of substantial runs, that 2017 period. Then we had got 2020 into 2022, very big run. And since then, it hasn't been great, but this is better, at least in my opinion, from an equity curve perspective. Not just because I like the trajectory over time, but we've got 200 trades. So when we've got this many more trades, that's better, at least in my eyes. But now we've changed the variable. So while it's got an 80% return with a 20% drawdown, that's good. Though it's much better, we now might want to go back into the settings and start to change these numbers one by one again. By the way, we didn't even change the oversold and overbought levels to this at all. But now we can go back inside of here, change these numbers around one at a time to see if we can improve the strategy. That's essentially how you'd go about creating a profitable strategy using Gemini. Now you can go back and forth, ask for suggestions. You guys get the point at this point. We can just repeat what I've already done again and again and again until we are at a point that we're satisfied. So let's say that we were happy, we wanted to stop here, we've got a strategy that we think is good. In this case, it does not beat the buy and hold. Maybe you could with futures or using some more leverage. It will obviously increase your drawdown, but that's something to play with. Now, there's a couple things we have to take into consideration here. We are looking at this, but we do not know if the strategy repaints or if this is going to be curve fit. Or if we optimize too much, we could optimize so much for the past. And then what ends up happening is we don't know how it will trade in the future because we've optimized so well for the past data. So repainting and curve fitting are two of the biggest concerns when we have a back test like this. So just because we have this does not mean that we're going to now automatically start trading the strategy and it's going to give us 80% returns with a 20% max drawdown. We can just pour more money in, scale it up over time, and have absolutely nothing to worry about. I mean, I wish it worked that way. But what we could do here are two different things. One, paper trade the strategy based off of the current alerts that we get. So when I go to my strategy, I go over here, go to the 3 dots, and then I can create an alert. So every time that the conditions for the strategy fire, I can get notified and then I can go paper trade it. So I don't have to risk my own money, or I could if I want to, and I can see how it's trading. Then I can compare the alerts that I'm getting every couple of trades, every couple of weeks to the trades that are firing off on the backtest. If they're similar, great. We now know the strategy is actively trading live like the backtest has been reporting. So we can trust the backtest. But if we can't get to our phone all the time, we're not full time, and we can't monitor when this goes off at 2 a.m., there's also a way to automate the forward test. So without using any of our actual funds, we can have these trades automatically logged on a separate platform once they fire from TradingView, have the alert be sent somewhere else. We can track the live performance in that forward test and compare it to the back test and then see if the strategy is trading like we want it to. I will link a tutorial on forward testing below this video. So if you want to go check it out, it'll be one of the first video links in the description box. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And also let us know in the comments how you're doing with Gemini. Can you create a solid strategy with Gemini that really beats the buy and hold? Or are you struggling or finding that other different platforms, maybe it's Grok, maybe it's Claude or ChatGPT, are actually giving you better results? Let us know, and happy trading.